This is the remix.
That's good.
This is a middle of the week episode that we're recording directly after the Zanesville Massacre Zoo episode.
Yeah, something we usually don't do.
Something that fucking pisses me off, man. This coronavirus stuff. WrestleMania, we were just talking about it.
Yeah, we were.
WrestleMania is going to be held in an empty gym with nobody there.
So weird, man. Usually, like, the theatrics of WrestleMania is like the best part.
The biggest sporting entertainment spectacle in the entire world. And they're not going to fucking cancel it or push it back.
No pops or anything, man.
They're going to have it. And the saddest part for me, and a lot of people don't think about this, I'm sorry we're talking about wrestling right now, but some of you get this and some of you don't get this, but the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania usually has a bunch of people that come back and a bunch of, like, you know, nostalgic feeling to it. We're not going to get that this year. It's going to be in an empty gym as well, and it's going to be fucking stupid. And I know what's really sad for you is Dana White is being very non-committal about the Khabib and Ferguson fight, which is going to be a super fight.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ferguson's going to get his fucking block knocked off, but
I don't know.
I don't think it'll be even close, dude.
I think it will.
He's never impressed me.
I would love to see Khabib get his ass whooped, so I'm rooting for Ferguson completely.
I want to see him get beat by McGregor, because there's going to be a rematch. I don't want to see him get beat by McGregor is what I want to see.
Yeah, see, I could talk UFC all day long. I don't know. It's going to be a really good fight regardless. I think if there's anybody that can push Khabib to lose, it's definitely going to be Tony Ferguson, because Tony Ferguson is really aggressive. As long as he can defend the takedowns from Khabib, I think he's got it.
Which I don't think he'll do.
But that's the big thing.
Yeah, that dude's like a fucking bear. He's like a mauling bear.
Yep.
Okay, so like I said, this is a midweek episode. There's no Patreon shout-outs. There's no newspaper article. I did have one. We kind of read it. This guy got a parking ticket and they beat him so badly he shit his pants.
Oh yeah.
There's really not much more to it. That's pretty much what happened. The news it's been really dry. This
all COVID-19 related.
It has been. Whatever, man.
People are dying. People are getting sick.
Just,
everybody's in quarantine. Life goes on.
Social distancing.
Yeah, which we're not abiding by, but it's okay.
We're inflicting one another right now.
It's okay. But anywho, for the midweek episode, we're a little something. You know, these ones usually aren't the same length as our main episodes.
Oh,
because who's got time for all that shit? But this is the death of a gentleman named Christopher Case, and his death is pretty fascinating, and I'll go into that here a little bit. This starts back in April of 1991.
Hold on one second.
Oh, okay, sure.
Before we get too far into this.
Okay.
I had a few would you rather questions I wanted to hit you with before this episode started.
Lay it on me.
Okay. Would you rather drink a pint of your enemy's pee while they look you in the eye, or eat a bowl of your own shit while everyone you've ever dated watches?
Oh, the piss, definitely.
I would eat the shit because everyone likes the taste of their own brand, yeah. Sorry to derail you right there, right
That's
off
fine,
the deep
man.
Would you rather every time you shit, shards of glass come out and make your ass bleed, or every time you pee, you have to wipe with shards of glass? That's for a female. I wanted to ask this question as well. My wife, she asked me this the other day. She was in the shower and I was peeing, and she said, "Why don't guys have to wipe when they pee?" Because there's no fucking hole there.
We just shake it off.
And then she said, "Do you think there are guys that wipe after they pee?"
Oh yeah, definitely. I think there is. I definitely think there is.
If you wipe your penis after you urinate and you are a man, send us an email. brohiopodcast@gmail.com. We will probably like to interview you to see the psyche going on right there.
A little dick bib.
Oh, there you go, little buddy.
I put a tuxedo on my wiener before I piss. Little wiener tux.
Oh, man, that's a good question. But yeah, I would think there would be somebody that would do that.
Yeah. I don't want to answer the question about the glass. That hurts me.
Yeah.
Would you rather have a vagina on your forehead or penises going up and down your back like a stegosaurus?
Oh, man. The penis is on my back. At least they'd be flaccid, so you could kind of hide them.
You know how many guys you could fit on your back if it was lined with dicks?
Wouldn't be able to give your kids piggyback rides anymore, but
let's see, that was the saddest part.
Yeah.
I mean, you could if your kid would like dicks in their ass. You sit here, you sit here, you sit on the big one. Would you rather slice your eye in half with a razor blade or swallow 10 needles? God,
Oh, God, that's
damn
rough.
it, man. Oh, I would swallow the needles because I would never
think so,
recover.
too.
I don't want to lose my vision.
Ugh.
God. Oh, God. Would you rather eat an entire pie filled with diarrhea from a baby
Oh, that's rough.
or eat powdered sugar mixed with dandruff shavings?
Powdered sugar.
Oh, God, dandruff shavings. Yeah, I think I'd rather do that one. Would you rather have to dive into a pool of snot once a day or always have to shower in your own pee? So fucking retarded.
I shower in my pee, man.
I'd definitely drink your pee for sure on that one. Would you rather pee dry sand for the rest of your life or poo a hard big brick every year on your birthday?
Just once.
Gotta go take my birthday shit. Call the paramedics.
I guess that'd be no different than the after Thanksgiving shit. So,
That's
maybe
where
that one.
that's where holiday fruitcake comes from. is
Exactly.
They salvage everyone's poop.
Pluck it from your butt.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. Would you rather eat someone's ass right after they had diarrhea or eat your mom's used tampon?
Oh, God.
That's a fucking word.
That is awful.
Oh, I'd definitely rather eat my mom's diarrhea. Wait a second.
Eat your mom's diarrhea.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Oh, my God.
Which one is it, Rob?
Fuck.
I'd rather eat someone's ass right after they had diarrhea.
Yeah, I'd have to do diarrhea. That diarrhea butthole.
Would you rather wake up to find all your teeth have been replaced with pubic hairs? Oh, I got the hair mouth. Or have your pubic hairs be replaced with millions of teeth? That's scary.
Ooh.
I think you could probably be in a museum somewhere if you had teeth for pubes.
Teeth pubes.
All right, I think that's good.
I couldn't deal with pubes in my mouth all day long every single day. Right.
Yeah, that'd be fucking rough.
Ugh.
I'm trying to look and see if there's any other good ones.
Oh, man.
Would you rather eat 10 pounds of poop that tastes like chocolate or eat 20 pounds of chocolate that tastes like poop? I like chocolate. Give me
I do too, yeah.
There was this cake place by my house when I was younger, and they made a shit cake that literally looked like a giant
big turd.
Yeah, it just looked like shit, and it was always so delicious. We got it for everybody we knew. Yeah, all right. Yeah, that's good. I just wanted to loosen you up a little bit, get you going. You have some beer over there. Have you drank either of those?
I killed both of them already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, during the main episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
I usually bring two so I can get a little loose.
Drive home and not go to jail.
Yeah, exactly.
My wife brought us dinner down here. Rob had four,
man.
He ate 4 hot sausages to my 2. And I think
one without a bun. Just to
make
myself feel better.
We put sauerkraut on them.
Yeah, my asshole's gonna be diabolical later.
Okay, so Rob, you have a story, and if there's time at the end, I'll have a story as well.
Sure.
Tell me about Christopher Case.
Sure. So, like I said earlier, it was going back to 1991. Yeah, a gentleman named Christopher Case. He is an artist manager in Seattle, Washington, for a successful music company and former radio broadcaster. So you got to think this is Seattle in 91. This is like peak time.
Entertain us, yeah. I don't like Nirvana at all.
Yeah,
don't like them.
Yeah, they're all right.
Yeah, they're okay.
So anywho,
respect what they did.
Yeah,
don't like them.
Exactly. I get that. This gentleman, he's making good money, is all around happy in all aspects of life with no known enemies or peers at all. All of his peers liked him. And I'm bringing this up obviously because, we're talking about his death. So kind of want to paint the picture.
So he does die?
He does die, yeah. So
why would you fucking blow it already?
Sorry. And Now, he kept regular contact with old friends, but was still kind of a loner who mostly preferred to sit by himself at home listening to music.
Sounds like you when you're 13.
It really does. That's all I ever did.
Robert home? He's downstairs playing with his dick, listening to Korn.
Yeah, that's all I did when I was little, man. So Forensic Case would begin to receive phone calls from him that he seemed to be scared and completely shaken up, claiming that someone was out to get him and that he was the target of a curse by a witch who had targeted him with her powers and spells.
Okay. Have you ever... this is a running gag in my house.
Mm-hmm.
When I was about 11 or 12, we did a spin the bottle game and I pecked this girl in the mouth when I was 10 or 11, and she wanted to become my girlfriend. She was very hairy.
Yeah.
Not my type, because I'm very bald, and I don't like to be overshadowed in that aspect of my life.
Oh, yeah.
She just was not for me, okay? And I told her that I didn't want to be her girlfriend. I didn't want to be her boyfriend. I think she wanted to fuck.
Either one.
I was young. It didn't matter. And she hit me with the bombshell that she was a practicing fucking witch. I know I've talked about her on the show before.
Mm-hmm.
And she said that if I didn't give her the opportunity of a relationship, she was going to cast a spell on me. And this affected me to my core when I was 10 or 11 years old. I did not want to have a fucking spell cast on me whenever I was 10 or 11. And I told her no. I said, it's worth it. I'm going to risk it for the biscuit. I'm not going to be your boyfriend. You can cast a spell on me. And to this day, my wife still makes fun of me because she thinks I've had a spell cast on me by this person. Which
that would explain so much.
It would. She turned into a lesbian. And it wasn't my fault. I do want to say that the way she's not a lesbian now. She came back. But it was not my fault.
Okay, well.
And I'm fascinated if there really are witches out there that think they can cast fucking spells and shit.
That is a good question.
We've had some witches write us before.
Yeah.
And they're like, I can tell you all about sorcery and witches and shit. Okay. So if you are a practicing witch, send us an email, brohiopodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
We would love to talk to a witch. I don't know what that...
Tell us about your spells. Which ones have came true?
How many frogs have you eaten? Don't witches eat frogs?
I think so. I think that's how it works. That's where they get their powers from.
Yeah, it's talking about a messy shit.
What, a frog? Frog shit?
Yeah. You ever have frog legs at the China buffet, dude? That is a sloppy shit afterwards.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, no, there's a cat down there.
Scared the shit out of me.
She's so fuzzy, too. She is the worst cat in the entire world.
Hairiest little shit.
You could be holding 10 pounds of kitten caboodle and meow mix in your left hand and 15 tuna fish in your right hand. That cat still would not fucking come to you. I hate that cat so much.
Oh, man.
Sorry to derail that, Rob.
It's all right. It's all good, man.
It's all you. Go ahead.
So, this is a quote from one of Chris Case's friends named Sammy Souter. I don't know if it's a guy. Okay, here we go. He said, this is what they're saying that Chris told him. He said, "They're after me. I'm very, very afraid, extremely afraid. I could die from this." He said he was afraid and that the witch had been attacking him all night and cutting him. He said he'd woke up with little cuts on the ends of his fingers. So other friends... So this is a guy going from completely normal to all of a sudden just batshit, like, off his fucking rockers.
Why did...
And we'll get into what happened as the story goes.
I don't know the story, so
Yeah.
I'm learning with you guys right now.
There you go.
I have no idea.
So other friends would also report that they too were receiving phone calls from him, who they also corroborate that he was sounding, alarmed and paranoid, and was telling all of them, that he had 1 week left to live, and he was pretty sure that was the case.
I've seen the Blair Witch Project. It's nothing to fuck with.
Yeah, exactly. So they were concerned, especially because this was completely out of the ordinary for him, and he never showed any interest or had any belief in anything paranormal related. And, he had been completely normal up to, these last couple of days before this incident. His friends wanted to be there to help him, but before they could, everything pretty much changed. So on April 18th, 1991, Case doesn't end up showing up for work. And they try to reach him by calling him, and there was no answer.
That was the only way to get a hold of a person back in 1991.
Yeah, 91, you don't have many
Send a
options.
fax machine.
Yep.
If your ass is getting woken up for work by a fax machine, you're fucking fired.
Ooh, yeah, that's very true. So since his friends had been so worried about him and his claims about the witch that he'd said he had 1 week left to live, they of course contacted Seattle police to do a wellness check. So the police arrived to his apartment and they were unable to get an answer at his door. They left, and then of course they kept checking back on him, and within the next day, they still had no word from him.
And I do want to say, as a friend or someone that cares about someone else, you can call and request a welfare check of someone. If you have a friend that you suspect is possibly dealing with suicide, or someone that's not answering that should answer, you can call the police and say, hey, this is kind of suspicious, and I just want to do a welfare check on my friend. And they'll go to the house and they'll try and make contact with the person. They're not going to kick the fucking door in, but they will try and go to the house and knock on the door and make contact. So you can just keep that in mind if you ever find yourself in a situation like this.
So the next time the police go back to his house, or back to his apartment, the door was actually unlocked. So at this point, they entered. They searched the house and ended up finding the body of Christopher Case in a bathtub. He was completely clothed and on his knees in a prayer position. There was no sign of an attack or injury of any kind. Now, around the area of the body, there was, a bizarre assortment of things there. There were 10 candles that were all burnt out and crucifixes that were scattered around the room, along with amulets and other arcane talismans.
This is real? You're not making this shit up?
No, this is totally real.
Jesus.
So the bases of the walls and door frames were lined with lines of salt, and the entrances of the apartment had geometric shapes drawn out in salt as well. And also found were groups of books that involved witchcraft, black magic, and the occult. Now, the most important thing that they found were handwritten letters telling a story, which made everything even more strange. And then from here, I'll talk a little bit about.
I don't want to get scared.
Well, it's not too scary.
We
but
did the Zoo Massacre episode a little bit ago, and it wasn't scary. That was a fun episode. I'm not trying to get scared because I got half the basement turned off. The lights.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll try not to.
Don't
scare
fuck me up.
Okay. So in these letters, they told how Case had recently went on a business trip to San Francisco on April the 11th, where he had met an older woman who claimed that she was an expert in ancient Egyptian music.
Oh, that never fucking works.
Exactly. And naturally, Case was intrigued since he also had a hobby in ancient music, so the two began to chat. Now, this woman would eventually show romantic interest in Case, and she made no secret as to, that she had an interest in him and wanted to pursue a relationship with him, but he would decline the offers.
She was looking for macaque.
She was an attractive woman, but he wasn't feeling the intensity of her advancements, and she was at least 20 years his senior, and he wasn't about that life and suggested, they just call it a night and go their separate ways. He wasn't chasing him, an older lady. It's good.
Cougar. They were hunting cougars in the last episode, too.
Exactly. It's a common
different hooker.
Common trend.
Different cougar. Sorry.
So after he turns her down, he said that the woman became angry, and she told him that she was a witch and threatened him with a curse.
That's what happened to me. I told you, dude.
There you go, man. That's how they work. So he, of course, didn't believe in witchcraft and considered himself to be a rational thinker, but nonetheless was still a little taken aback with the statement. Now,
that's how I felt.
Man, maybe this was you. So after this event, it stated in the letters that Case had begun to believe that the woman had in fact placed a curse on him, and once he returned home, because of various things that began to happen, that led him to believe that, maybe she really did fuck me up. So on the 14th of April, Chris called his friend Sammy and stated that he had been up all night by the sound of whispers inside of his home.
Oh, good.
He claimed that he had begun to see mysterious figures inside his apartment aimlessly walking around, and that he felt like he was being watched during the nighttime as well. A couple days later, he called Sammy again.
I just want to say what kind of Sammy this is. His name is spelled Sammye, so that's the kind of Sammy we're dealing with right here. This
Exactly.
is the kind of Sammy that puts mayonnaise in his hair and stuff. This is a different kind of Sammy, okay?
He called Sammy again to tell him that he was attacked during the night. He woke up unable to move while getting hit by hands that he couldn't see, and said he was even lifted off of his bed and slammed back down, having cuts on the ends of his fingers, and his sheets were also covered in blood.
Man, I don't like paper cuts.
Not at all. Me neither. Those things suck. The next morning, he began gathering books on witchcraft and a handful of crucifixes. The bookstore manager remembers asking him what he had intended to do with all these items, and Case told him that he thinks he was being targeted by paranormal entities and needed a way to defend himself.
I'm going to put them all in my butt.
That's what I would have done.
Put this crucifix in my butt.
So he no longer felt safe inside of his own home, and he would actually stay in hotels in attempts to hide from this witch's spell.
Jesus, man.
Yeah, so he was, maybe it's just attached to his house. He needed to get out and do his own thing.
At one point, you got to reach back out to this Egyptian music lady and say, hey, I'm sorry. Let me eat you out real quick or something. Let me make this right. I can't fucking live anymore.
Yeah.
Let me pee in you. Let me do something to make this better to where you're not casting spells on me. You look like you've probably eaten a lot of frogs, so you are more than likely a very, very powerful witch. The ones that eat a lot of frogs are very powerful.
Yeah, I would say so. The more frogs, the more power.
The one that cast a spell on me, she looked like she ate a lot of frogs. A lot of them.
Very much.
Okay.
So then we go back to Sammy's welfare check. And Sammy actually is a girl, so that's good to know. So later that evening, Sammy would return home to find a message on her answering machine, which would be the last time that she would ever hear from Case.
What's an answering machine?
That's a very, very good question. So the message stated how they almost got him the previous night, and he believed tonight would be his last night on Earth. He had also ended up visiting a Catholic priest that afternoon before the call and visited the bookstore once again.
You're going to feel like tonight's your last night on Earth after them 4 sausages you
I
just
know,
ate.
I really do feel like I'm going to. Police were convinced by these letters that Case had written that he truly believed and felt like he was under threat. They did perform an autopsy on his body, where the cause of death was stated to be acute myocarditis, which is a heart attack. Case was young, healthy man who was in good shape, led a clean lifestyle, didn't smoke or drink, had no history of heart problems in his family. It's also odd that at the time of his death that he had been knelt in a prayer position, apparently, in a ritualistic ceremony, and just so happened to have a heart attack at that time.
God, man.
Yeah, which is all pretty weird. So from here, I'm going to take this part of this article that I got from alienexpanse.com, because this is a good way to kind of wrap everything up and give you a little bit of an idea of maybe what possibly could have happened, and just to lay things out a little bit more clearly.
He died. That's what happened.
So, did Christopher Case somehow manage to convince himself that he had been cursed and literally scared himself to death? Or was there something far more mysterious and sinister at work? The jury is still out even after all this time. So, myocarditis is a rare but potentially dead disease affecting 1 in every 100,000 people. It is not hereditary and therefore not based on one's genetic makeup. It can afflict anyone at any time, but most commonly occurs in people between the ages of 20 and 40.
Oh, that's very comforting.
Yeah.
We're right there in the wheelhouse.
Right there. It's not unheard of for myocarditis to strike young men and women who are otherwise fit and healthy. In fact, it has been the cause of many sudden deaths in young athletes around the world. Some medical experts have also suggested that there is a link between the disease and man-made supplements such as vitamins or steroids, which they believe could aggravate an existing condition. Now, with this in mind, it is important to remember that Christopher Case was a fitness enthusiast. He went to the gym to exercise daily. He also took vitamins and supplements, and at the age of 35, he was well within the scope of being affected by this disease. However, close friends and relatives of Mr. Case are not so quick to just accept the possibility he died of natural causes. First of all, there are a variety of other symptoms which usually manifest in sufferers of myocarditis, such as chest pains, difficulty breathing, and general fatigue. Furthermore, before a fatal attack such as this, the sufferer will usually display flu-like symptoms in the weeks leading up to their death, and Chris experienced none of these things. He was an otherwise fit and healthy young man with top-notch immune system. And then there's
obviously not. He fucking died.
And then there was the small matter of Chris's mental state during those last 5 or 6 days. As we've already established, he was a stable individual and not prone to such flights of fancy regarding the paranormal. So why did he suddenly and inexplicably change? Is it really possible for someone to go from sane, rational young man one day only to change to a desperate, obsessed wreck of a man the next?
That's us.
It makes absolutely no sense.
Wreck of a men.
That we are. Finally, we are faced with the fact that Chris knew he was going to die. He predicted it with alarming accuracy, saying to his friend Sammy on the 17th that he knew he would not last the night. What are the chances of an otherwise fit, healthy, mentally stable young man dying of natural causes after a week of saying to his friends that he feared for his life?
Usually people that die of natural causes can't call natural causes.
Exactly.
Hey, buddy, you're going to have a stroke tomorrow. I'll see you later.
So one has to wonder whether there is more to this than meets the eye. So in summary, whatever happened during the week back in April of 91, Chris truly believed he was being haunted, ultimately hunted by something truly sinister and horrific enough to literally scare him to death. After days of being tormented and tortured at the hands of who knows what, he finally succumbed to his fears, left a tantalizing mystery which will probably never be solved. You may be wondering why police never followed up on the identity of the woman who supposedly put the curse on him, but this death was never seen as suspicious, so it did not warrant that kind of investigation. Besides, Chris took her name with him to the grave.
Wow.
Never told anybody what her name was. Now, whether he died a terrifying curse or was simply all in his head, this case is no less heartbreaking for those who are close to Chris, and we can only hope that he rests in peace.
Oh, rest in peace, Chris Case.
R.I.P. doggy.
What do you think happened to him? That's weird, man. You can't call natural cause death.
Yeah, and I mean, I can see how...
I mean, you might die from natural causes the night after what you just ate.
Maybe, I mean, there could be a chance that maybe he did think that he was cursed to the extent that where he made his heart shit out. I mean, I've never been that terrified of anything in my life.
I have. You've never had a spell cast on you before, Rob Dog.
I guess that's true.
You don't know what it's like.
Very
I'm
true.
telling you, she ate a lot of fucking frogs.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Oh, man. That's a weird one.
It's really weird, especially because you don't really know. I mean, you can only just say that it's natural causes. But I don't know. It's a little fishy to me, especially to be able to predict, that you're not going to make it past that night. And you fucking die that night. And I mean, even at the scene of his death, they found all these things where he was performing some sort of a ritual to potentially try to stop this from happening.
Dude, one day...
With the salt and all that shit.
We can't tell Stacy, but one day we should try and do a seance down here.
Okay.
Try and bring someone back. But we have to decide who we want to bring back.
Okay.
I don't know who it should be, but Jeff Epstein.
I was going to say Epstein.
We got a Ouija board
we
back
do.
there.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, man. I got some candles right there.
It's tempting. We got a ghost here.
We do have a ghost.
We got everything we could possibly need.
But the thing about Ouija boards is, all the stuff we read, Ouija boards open it up.
Yeah, they do.
And it fucks you up.
Yeah.
Could you imagine my 3-year-old getting any meaner than what she already is right now?
Oh, man, you'd be fucked.
Yeah, she could kill me.
Yeah, definitely.
She could kill all of us in one swoop. I think we should do something like that.
Okay. Yeah,
I do want to. If you're listening and you've done a Ouija board experience or a seance, and it made things in your life a lot worse, right? Shoot us an email, brohiopodcast@gmail.com. Subject Ouija board or something like that. Because I would want to know if there's people out there that.
Oh, shit, sorry.
I wonder if it caught that. I don't know.
They had to have caught that.
What time of that? 29:10. I don't know. You have to edit that part out. I had a fluffy. That one got stuck in third gear for sure. I just would want to know if there's people out there that legitimately. I don't think we've ever farted on the show before. Like a real fart?
Not like that.
That's I usually get those bone rattlers around 9:00. So gotta be careful.
Oh man.
I just want to know if there's people out there that legit had a turn of the worst in their life after doing something like that.
That's an interesting. If that did happen, you definitely let us know.
You should.
I want to know.
It's like me. I'm gonna pause it real quick. I'm gonna go back and see if we need to edit that.
Good, because I gotta go take a whiz anyways.
Yeah, we've got some really superior editing skills. We're not going to be able to scrub that one out, guys.
No, not happening. You'll hear it in its full force.
Yes, scrub it out of my underwear, but we're not going to be able to scrub it out of the audio.
Sorry about that. It happens.
Yeah, that's disrespectful.
I'm saying sorry like it was me that did it.
It was you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, the death of Christopher Case. Something skunky's going on for sure right there.
Definitely.
I feel bad for that guy.
Yeah, he's dead, but it's okay.
That's what happens when you date a witch.
Yeah.
I've tried it.
You been there?
Not fun.
No. Been there and done that.
Very much not fun. Okay. I think we have... What do you think? Should I run through this real quick? Rob's got about 2 minutes left, but I'm going to run through the Boogeyman. I'm going to go right through the Boogeyman real quick.
Run right through him.
Now, the Boogeyman, another early origin can be traced back to the word bugbear, which was used to describe a goblin /scarecrow /bear mashup. That sounds completely fucking terrifying.
That's horrible.
That hunted and ate small children. That's where
nice.
the Boogeyman came from, Rob.
Okay.
No one knows who or what the actual Boogeyman is or what he looks like, but the accounts vary so much in different cultures. I know in John Wick, either they give him the nickname Baba Yaga. No, he fights someone named Baba Yaga, which is Russian for the Boogeyman, which I think Baba Yaga is such a cool word for the Boogeyman.
So fucking cool. Yeah.
Baba Yaga. Some say that the Boogeyman is a creature from another void. This is really fucking cool, so hold on for a second, Rob.
I'm holding.
He's a creature from another void or reality that likes to jump into ours to cause chaos. He feeds on fear and is able to gain power from the fear. That's how he's able to cross over into our realm because all of the power. This sounds like Monsters Incorporated.
Yeah, it really does.
This is fucking bullshit. So could there be more to this bedtime and campfire story, we ask? Some think it's just an entity that's devoid of physical body or reality, and that it becomes whatever you fear the most. I know you had a sleep paralysis or some type of entity that came into your room whenever you were younger, but were there ever parts of the house that you were kind of sketchy about being near? You're kind of worried that something would come out and get you, much like the Boogeyman.
Never really that I was afraid would come out and get me per se, but there was sketchy areas that I didn't really like going near.
Well, one of our friends growing up, I used to stay at his house, and he had a long staircase going up to the top floor of his house. And halfway up the staircase, this staircase was up against the wall, and then on the other side was the railing to go up the staircase. But like 5 feet up the wall, there was no floor, no nothing. There was the size of a door, like a huge wooden door, and it was an entrance to like a side attic. But there was no way to get to the door because the steps would go up, and then that door was just like up on the wall, like 5-6 feet. And every time they couldn't get the latch properly, so when we go up the steps and if the windows were open, that door would kind of like it kind of open, move around. And I swear to fucking God, dude, I would sprint past that door. I thought the Boogeyman was up in that motherfucker raging.
May have been.
That door was going in and out. But and then my basement at my parents' house growing up, I was terrified to go down there by myself at night.
Yeah.
There was the Boogeyman is real.
Basements aren't fun.
Okay, but the Boogeyman is real.
Very real.
Don't get this twisted. But some think that he's an entity devoid of physical body or reality, and that it becomes whatever you fear the most. That's probably the most terrifying part of the Boogeyman.
Oh, yeah.
It's not even real. It's just your fear alone. He only appears when the subject is all alone in a darkened room, waiting to pounce as soon as the victim falls into a deep sleep. He can hide in the closet, under the bed, or in a pile of dirty laundry. God. I hope he doesn't get in my laundry tonight.
I know.
He's a fucking die. The messier the room, the more places the Boogeyman can take cover. The wind, moonlight, and or street lights can be blamed for the scary moving shadows appearing about in one's room, but nothing can be said about what it is if it really is the fucking Boogeyman, okay? And I've got some stories here of some possible Boogeyman encounters. It says, I've been a regular visitor to this. It's a subreddit on Reddit. And it says, I feel comfortable now to share my story with you. This will be the first story I submit. The story I'm about to tell you happened a few years ago. I was 13 at the time. I'm 26 now, and this still haunts me to this day. I stayed with my parents in a quiet suburb in South Africa. I grew up in that house, and my parents still stay there to this day. I remember waking up in the early morning hours feeling panicked and scared. It felt like someone was watching me, like I wasn't alone. I didn't move, but scanned the room with my eyes. I didn't see anything. I closed my eyes and prayed. Soon after, I fell asleep again and didn't think much of it. A few days passed and nothing happened. I then woke up again with the same fear and panic. I looked around my room again, and that's when I saw it. It was sitting on my desk in front of my bed. It was small like a garden gnome. It had yellow eyes, sharp little teeth, and pointed fingers. My hair's standing up on my fucking neck. It just stared at me. I never felt so scared in my life. I screamed, and my dad came to my room. As soon as he put the light on, the creature was gone. My dad didn't believe me when I told him what I have seen. He thought it was just a bad dream. It felt so real. I know I was awake, and I know I saw it, and it saw me. I slept in my parents' room for the rest of the night. I was now scared to go to my bed. To be alone in my room at night, I could always feel it watching me. It also started to scratch the underside of my bed at night. Ugh. I once again woke up and saw the creature sitting on my desk. He stared at me and smiled, the most evil smile I've ever seen. I was frozen with fear. This went on for years. My parents thought I had an overactive imagination and watched too many scary movies and didn't take it seriously. Whenever I saw the creature, I just covered my face with my duvet, whatever the fuck it is, prayed and hoped I will fall asleep quickly. It seemed like it didn't like that I ignored it, and things got worse. I saw him sitting on my desk again. I just closed my eyes and covered my face. I knew he was still there. I could feel him watching me. I then jumped into my own on my bed. I then felt him jump onto my bed. Ooh. I didn't dare move. I have never been this scared in my life. I didn't dare look. I just laid there. I could feel him scratching my arm, and I screamed. My dad came and put the light on, and the creature was gone. I slept in my parents' room again that night. The next morning, I saw the 4 scratches on my arm, but my parents said I must have done it in my sleep. I told a friend what was happening, and luckily he believed me. He told me this thing thrives on fear and that I should sleep with a Bible under my pillow and tell it to go away. I did just that. I could still feel him sometimes watching me, but never saw him again. I was 16 at the time. This is when it got even creepier. I was doing much better. 2 years had passed without any incident. I was 18 at the time. I stayed over at a friend's house. We all slept in front of the TV. Her boyfriend screamed in the early hours. I woke up and I could feel the creature looking at us. I knew it was there. The boogeyman is here, her boyfriend screamed over and over again. I ran to put the lights on, and that's when her boyfriend told me about the creature. The same creature I saw when I was younger. I saw the small scratch marks on his arms, and that just freaked me out. I was trying to convince myself for so long that it wasn't real. Has anyone seen anything like this before? What is it? I'm 26 now, and I haven't seen or felt it again after that night.
Ooh, that's weird.
I don't like the Baba Yaga!
Especially when it being that small. That's fucking weird.
Whenever she's going through the story, it reminds me of the main character from Real Monsters. The red one with the fucking big ears. That's definitely what it was. Okay, yeah, that's good you know that. Yeah. I have no idea. This is another story. You see, this story was passed down to me from my uncle and concerns a family who lived next to us, or so he claimed anyway. The family moved away shortly after these events, which I believed was a sign that my uncle was lying. Yet, even to this day, the story creeps me out a little, and I've asked my parents if it was true. They have never said yes or no, but often looked rather uncomfortable before changing the subject or telling me to stop being silly. Anyway, here's a story as my uncle used to tell me. Kevin was an 8-year-old boy who lived at a home with his mom and dad, who knew all too well about the active imagination their son had, that he'd had ever since he was 3. He'd come running into the room at night complaining about the boogeyman, and as the years went by, both his mom and dad began to grow weary of his behavior. Eventually, seeing no other option, his mom and dad decided to go to bed one night with a promise not to give in to Kevin's imagination. Sure enough, later that night, Kevin ran into the room and called out, "Mom, Dad, the boogeyman is in my room." "Go to bed, Kevin," his mom replied. "But Mom, boogeyman is there." Kevin protested. "Go to bed," his father replied. Both parents felt a little bad as their young son stood there, clearly not wishing to return to his room, yet eventually he departed and closed the door behind himself. Are you sure we're doing the right thing? Kevin's mom asked her husband. He'll be all right. He needs to get over this, Kevin's dad replied, which is what the fuck I would say if my kids are busting in the middle. He seemed frightened. I should go check, Kevin's mom replied, only for her husband to hold her back. We have to do this, for Kevin's sake, Kevin's dad said. Despite her reluctance, eventually Kevin's mom closed her eyes and went back to sleep. In the morning, Kevin's mother was first to wake up and went to her son's room. Still feeling guilty over the previous night, but expecting to find her son huddled up under the blankets as she slowly opened the door. What followed was a horrible scream that woke Kevin's father with a start, and he rushed out of bed and into Kevin's room, where he soon fell to his knees alongside his wife as they gazed at a terrible sight. Kevin was hung by the curtains, the window open wide, as dirty boot prints stained the floor. A paper note attached to Kevin's chest read out. Wait, what? That's a huge cliffhanger right there. Why did? That's all I have on the story.
Way to go.
Jesus Christ, we gotta know what the fucking note says. Oh my God. I'm gonna copy and paste that portion of the... Isn't that bullshit? What followed was a horrible scream, and a paper note attached to Kevin's chest read out, "Do you believe in monsters?"
Oof.
Yeah, so that's what the note said.
Okay.
Do you believe in monsters?
Had me worried there for a minute.
That's a scary story.
I don't like it.
That. Yeah, we got one more quick one here for you, and then we're done with this episode. It started with my 3-year-old son screaming in his room in the middle of the night. When I came in to check on him, he was in hysterics. And just stop real quick, okay? So the boogeyman isn't necessarily a boogeyman. It could be a fucking guy breaking in your house and killing your kids in the middle of the night.
Very true.
Oh, God.
Very true.
I don't like that at all.
Right.
When I came in to check on him, he was in hysterics. Tears ran down his little cheeks as he cried out about how the boogeyman had frightened him. I let him sleep with my wife and I for the night, thinking it was just a bad dream. The next evening, he didn't even want to be in his room, but I convinced him that the boogeyman was just a figment of his imagination. I was woken up once more by his screams. I rushed to his room to find him in tears again. On the third night, I set up a camcorder in his room in order to show him that there was no monster. That evening, there was no screaming and no crying. I was refreshed when I woke up in the morning after having gotten my first good night's sleep in 3 days. However, my son did seem fatigued. He didn't even put on his usual fuss in the morning when we got him ready for preschool. When my wife took him to the daycare, I decided to review the camera's tape in order to find out how he had slept. I'll never forget what I saw. At around 2 a.m., while my son was asleep, his closet door slowly creaked open. Out of the shadows crept a pale, naked, veiny woman with long white hair and solid black eyes. Her body was bony and frail, like that of a Holocaust survivor. When she turned to the side, I could see her spine protruding from her hunched back like a dinosaur.
Oh.
She reached into my son's crib with her unnaturally large hands and covered his mouth. He was trying to scream, but he couldn't. The palm of one of her hands easily enveloped his head, muffling his cries. She snatched him up with ease that a person of her frame should not have had, then walked back into the closet with him in her arms. This is really fucking scary.
Yeah, I don't like it.
My hair is standing up. I don't like it. I'm going to cry. An hour later, she returned with what looked like a wriggling maggot the size of a duffel bag, and placed it in my son's bed before retreating once more into the closet. Over the next 2 hours, I watched it twist and writhe while it grew and mutated until it looked like my baby boy. Once the transformation... This can't be fucking real. I think it is real, though. Once the transformation was complete, it got out of bed and slipped on a pair of his pajamas, then slid back between the covers and waited for us to come in. I don't know what that thing is that left with my wife this morning, but I know it's not my son.
He said, "This is not real."
Honey, I gotta tell you something. when we pick him up for daycare, we gotta take him straight to the car and fucking kill him.
Just fucking leave him at daycare. Just never pick him up.
I'm not paying for today because that's actually not my son. My son was abducted in the middle of the night by a naked skinny bitch with big fucking hands.
Dude, could you imagine?
No, I don't want to imagine
Dude,
because
fuck
that stuff, like, okay, this is, I don't watch many scary movies, but things like The Ring and shit like that, where there's like a decrepit woman with like fucking long hair.
I don't like those, yeah.
Those fuck me up, dude.
Yeah, The Ring was really scary.
It was a really scary movie, dude.
The whole concept was really cool.
It made me cry. I was scared. Like, I've had spells cast on me by witches.
That's very true.
Got through it, lived through it. Girl,
You're a survivor.
Ate a lot of frogs, but here I am, pushing through. I just don't ever want to have to. I don't want to encounter that shit.
Yeah, I could definitely, I understand that.
The Boogeyman is real.
Oh yeah,
Baba Yaga is here.
Yeah.
If you've ever had an encounter with the Boogeyman, send us an email, brohiopodcast@gmail.com.
Or if you eat frogs, let us know.
Frog legs.
Frog legs.
Have you ever had frog legs?
Yeah.
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
They taste like chicken.
Yep, just like chicken.
Man.
Or if that's what my legs taste like.
Well,
let's find out.
Let's find out. Quarantine 2020. I just want to say thank you to all the kids that went down to Florida for spring break and got the entire country fucking infected. Thank you so much for doing that. I hope that all the grandmothers and grandfathers that you're inevitably going to fucking kill was worth you bonging beers on the beach for your 19th birthday party. Thank you so much for doing that, guys. I hope you all perish in fucking car fires because you have no literal sense of what the fuck you're doing with your life.
Not at all.
Hopefully you all fucking die. To those of you like, no.
Okay. Yeah.
Don't tell me how I'm supposed to feel.
No, do you, man?
Those of you that are doing what you're supposed to do to help this coronavirus go away, thank you for doing your part. Rob and I are not. We're here in the room with one another.
Yeah, you guys are the real MVPs.
Sorry I farted. Sorry Rob farted in this episode. That's embarrassing. That'll certainly...
It'll never happen again.
Take the Brohio franchise down a couple notches.
Yeah, definitely.
And I can promise you one thing. It will never happen again on this show for as long as I am a podcaster. There will never, ever be... Please, I'm trying to make a legal disclaimer, like trying to direct this to Brohio Legal.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And you're not even taking it serious right now. We will never use real farts on this show ever again. And if you suspect that you've heard a real fart on the show, please call the FBI and tell them what's happened, because I don't want it happening. If you hear a real fart on the show, that means someone has stolen our RSS feed and they are overlaying real farts on our show. That they're not, because we're not doing it. Okay,
no, definitely not. We would never do that.
Thanks for tuning into this midweek episode
Thank
of
you
the
guys.
Brohio Podcast.
We love you.
That last one was real.